Hello everyone, welcome to another year of Sweet and Sour. Tonight commences our 21st season. Terrific to have you with us. Terrific panel for the first show of the year as well. And what topics are they going to be discussing? Inherited IQ. Any value in that? Any value in actually thinking that IQ is inherited? Second letter tonight. A Catholic chap writes in, wants to know where for the future for the Catholic Church. And the last letter tonight, a small businessman writes in, he's doing it tough, wants to know why we're doing it so tough when there's never been more GDP around to share. All these letters, terrific lineup coming up right now. Thanks for joining us, 21 years.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our monthly crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Chat-filled half hour and a terrific lineup of panellists back for our 21st season. First up tonight, first panellist. Hello, Suresh.
Hi, Gary. How you doing?
I'm always good, but geez, you've walked, what, 15 k's today?
Yeah, it's one of my lesser days, I'd say.
What do you normally average?
I've been trying to get up to about 20 k's a day.
Wow, that's huge.
I actually took part in a fundraiser not long ago and walked 35 k's.
In one day?
Yeah, it took me 5 hours and 48 minutes.
Only 5 hours.
Margy Hegney Hall, hello. How far do you walk in a day?
Oh, well, some days I can walk 35, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I can.
But do you have to be on a trek in Spain or Portugal to be doing that?
Sometimes, but other times I'll be training. So my friends are quite gorgeous because if they see me out, they toot, you know. So I often, if you see me by the side of the road, just toot. I'll wave.
Are we going to see you by the side of the road, Suzie? Welcome again.
Well, yes,
Nice
I'm
to have
always
you here.
by the side of the road, laying on the ground in the gutter or something, begging people for work.
I have heard, but nice to have you here.
No, lovely to be back.
H,
Yes,
what's the direction of the market? It's just a bit flat, isn't
I
it?
think we've just about survived the
That's
Haynes
why I'm in the
Commission
gutter.
report, and I think that
You
we
think
will
so?
see. I think we will see. I'm going to go out on the limb. We will see a rate cut before Christmas this year.
Can't get much lower though, can it?
I
Can it
will.
get much lower?
We will. I go out on a limb. I think we'll see another rate cut before Christmas.
Jeez. I don't know whether to say I hope so or I hope not. It just, when we're so low, it's just, you know, wow.
It's good.
How, you know, does it kill economic activity if it...
We just got to ease up on the policy a bit. Get a bit more money.
We've got an election coming up this year too. That'll be interesting. Here we go. First letter for the year. Oh dear, Sweet and Sour. My clever daughter is in danger of becoming a racist. She doesn't like our neighbours at all. And they are, as you guessed, of a very different ethnic background. They're not bad people. They are simply a little blunt and unsophisticated. I think they're okay. You wonder where the... You know, really, where the daughter gets this idea. My daughter has taken offence because, as she puts it, she's been hit on by the two chronically thick boys who live next door who have a very caveman, primitive approach to women. Off she went to her university, did a little research and came home and declared that IQs vary between human races of people, and then declared that the people next door are intellectually disadvantaged because of their race. So I hope you mentioned something about Adolf Hitler to your daughter. What do I say here? And I do like this bit that she wrote.
Yes.
Humanity has had to suffer through so many periods of primitive genocides, and this thinking is so dangerous. I can't understand why our next generation, my daughter, is so unaware of dangerous thinking like this. What should we be saying to her and every youth? By the way, the people next door are Australians of Anglo-Saxon background, and it comes to us from Lynn of Box Hill in Victoria. Interesting. Suzie, you're first up on that.
Well, for some reason, Lynn's letter really surprised me, and that little twist at the end.
At the end? I think
you
all
know,
of us.
But I suppose going back, I would have expected a smart, young university student to be a female university student to be far more enlightened and politically
She
correct,
has
to be
made
honest.
herself very dumb.
And is she more concerned that the two thick boys hit on her, or did she feel intimidated? So that's one thing. But when it comes to race, I mean, it's easy to go back in science and look at
There
how
is no
people
such
have
thing as race.
No, I know, but
There
if
is
you
no
look at
such thing.
but back up one's
Phenotype, genotype, no such
okay,
thing.
but back up one's prejudice, and I just think I think your daughter has a superiority complex, and the Australians next door are quite blank and blunt and unsophisticated. I think she's being racist, and on the other hand,
She is herself.
but on the other hand, was that sexual attention intimidating for her? So we don't hear
That's
that.
what sparked it.
And we need to be saying to our young adults, and I have a lot of them in my house, that in this world of look at me, aren't I great? Sitting there on their phone all the time, to be considerate and respectful of our differences, and to be curious.
Well, she got hit on by a couple of cavemen. That might be a hint. So. Look, I just think you need to have a serious talk to your daughter. I mean, it's just, she hasn't got the right attitude at all.
Well, she's got a dangerous attitude
She's
as
got a
well.
dangerous attitude. I
And
think
an
Suzie-
uninformed attitude.
Suzie
as far as
covered it
I'm
beautifully.
concerned. Where
It's
is
just-
the value in using IQ to
I know.
pigeonhole people? And IQ is just a little psychological construct. It's a tool for something else. It's not a tool for living with people together. Find the value in everyone that you meet. Sorry, I go on.
I think
off on
talk
race.
to
Suresh.
Oh, look, it's generally regarded among sociologists that there is no such thing as race. It is a social construct that's been put together by people to try and pigeonhole groups into different areas. For example, the simple thing that I often advocate is that there is nothing about my Indianness that makes me any better than your Australianness or your Greekness or your Chineseness, whatever it may be. It's not my Indianness that causes me to be going out and performing whatever act it is that I did. So there is no such thing as race, and we come back to what Suzie was saying earlier, that she needs some education. I mean, this is Enoch Powell, this is Adolf Hitler, this is all of them rolled into one.
Seriously. Come on in, Margie. Last word to a woman on this one. What do you say to
I'm going to be a little bit harsh. I'm going to tell you to shut your mouth and open your mind.
Good.
Yeah, because I think we're one world, we're one race, definitely. And I think the bigger you live your life, the more people you meet, the more diversity. I mean, just look at this panel, the better it's going to be for you. So, yeah, that would be my great advice.
Have a look at this. This is something a little worrying as well. We asked our viewers at home to answer this question for us. Do you think intelligence is inherited? It's probably our fault for asking a silly question like that to start with. And here are the results that we have.
81%
saying yes.
No, that's not the right one, is it? Because we've got 49% on my sheet, and 51%. That's an error. We'll fix it up when we come back, but the results were 49%, 51%, not 89%.
That's surprising.
Very surprising. Amazing. When we come back, we're going to be talking about whether the Catholic Church will survive. Do you understand? Sweet and sour after the break.
Time for sweet and sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Welcome back to Sweet and Sour, and if you'd like to send us a letter, send it to one of these 5 contact points that's appearing on your screen right now. Where is it there? There you go. And for every letter that comes in through one of those vehicles and we discuss, we're going to send you to the movies courtesy of NRC Communications and Natalie Cameron. Hello, Nat. And Nat's sending us to look how you spell it.
Cemetery.
Why do you spell it like that?
Cemetery.
That's how.
No, it's not. It's with a C.
Oh, that's how it was spelled in the movie.
Okay, all right. I get
creative
it.
version.
Sorry, I haven't seen that franchise. So here we go. Dear Mitch, I'm sure you've received hundreds of letters of either support or abuse for George Pell, and mine will most likely be in the wave. But I write because as a Catholic, I feel that my whole church has been condemned. Every Catholic I know feels violated by the predatory behaviour that has stemmed from the highest levels. Every Catholic I know has had more compassion for the victims of these heinous crimes than most. The compassion is magnified knowing something that the public seems to have forgotten, that all of the victims had been Catholic as well. Our whole church has been attacked from both within and without. My question is, can my church in Australia survive this? And what do you think needs to be demonstrated to ensure that survival? It comes to us from Patricia of Surrey Hills in Victoria. Suresh, first to you, sir.
Look, I think the first part of the question, can the church survive that? Yes, I think it can. And what do they need to do to demonstrate that, to ensure that survival? I think one of the hardest things that the church has to do and has to overcome fairly soon is to take ownership of this issue. They haven't, it's been something that they have not accepted as having occurred. I wrote a letter to, that was published in the Age newspaper a little while ago on this very issue, and I said, look, I'm looking at all of these letters to the editor that say, let's not forget that this is only a small group of people that are perpetrating these acts. And secondly, let's also look at this this doctrine of cardinal celibacy, and let's remove that, and that's the reason for all of these acts. And I wrote back and said, look, if we now take it that 100% of the Catholic clergy have to remain celibate, and then we accept that it's only a small percentage that are perpetrating these acts, then how can you blame the celibacy doctrine for this? It is not the celibacy doctrine. It is something inherently wrong with that person who has actually perpetrated those acts. So let's not blame the system for the sheer failings of these individuals. And let's be very careful about this. You know, but we do need the church to accept that this has occurred.
Take responsibility.
And now start to redress that whole issue.
Margie, how much responsibility do you put at the feet of the lay parishioners?
Oh, none. I don't.
None?
So I'm a practicing Catholic. I believe in the Catholic religion, but I think it's been a very antiquated religion for some time, and I think that now we're seeing changes within that religion. Certainly the new Pope
Whose job is it to push for change?
I think that people ask for change, but I think that they don't ask for change necessarily with a voice, but certainly by actions. And if you look at the church, the numbers have declined over the years and that sort of thing, and I think that that is sort of the alert that the church probably needed to pick up faster than what they did. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the new Pope, our lovely Pope Francis, is a good man, and I think he is implementing really good things. And we're seeing sort of, I guess, the trickle effect, you know, by the time it gets to us. But
Does that suggest that the Pope before him wasn't such a good man?
I think this Pope is a much more open-minded man. I think that he's thinking outside the square, and I think any business, you know, has to evolve. And the church is not a business, but it's also an entity that's running, and it needs to keep evolving. Certainly, to keep me as part of it. You know, I want to be part of something that's, you know, up to date and doing good things.
Suzie, how do you feel?
I think that people do bad things. Yep. Some people do bad things, religious or not, and I agree with Suresh. You know, there's some bad apples.
And when you come together and reinforce negative values,
yes,
bad things happen on a very large scale.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that I look at what the church is doing and think, I think it's appalling. Appalling that there's been cases of this through the decades and no one's done anything. Yeah. And so I actually think that when I look at those people that have been affected, they should have had more support. I think that it's appalling that when we look at this young man who's come out, there's been a jury has convicted Pell, for example, and everyone's going, oh no, he didn't do it. I'm sorry. There's a jury. We have a criminal justice system. We have to have faith in the criminal justice system. And I suppose, you know, when it comes down to the Catholic, I don't blame all Catholics for this at all. I think a lot of religious groups have been affected. And I suggest, though, that 99% of the leaders of most religious institutions are male, and we need to have more female voices at the table.
So too.
At the table, they need to have females in there.
H, last word to a man.
Well, I think that...
It's okay.
Look, I just think that there's been an event that's just going to create a tipping point, and there's going to be a change. And I don't think we can go back
For
to
here in Australia or worldwide implications?
Worldwide. I just think that, you know, I just
yeah.
think there was a person in a role that had such a high standing within the church that just has got so many people just gobsmacked that the convictions happened.
And he did such a good job of bearing the issues that they made him head of the finances.
Yeah, so I just think like a tipping point, we won't be able to go back to where we were before. We're going to have a new future.
It'll
And
mean
I
some
think,
progress.
Like Margie was saying, is that there'll be changes, and I think Suresh was right with ownership, because once you have ownership and once you're committed to owning up to what was good and what was bad, you have the ability to move on.
We asked you people at home, can the Catholic Church in Australia survive the Pell paedophilia episode? Here's what you said. Hopefully we get it right this time. Yes, we did. 54% said yes. 46% said no, so more people think that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We all do. When we come back, we're going to be talking about small business and why is it doing it so tough at the moment. When we come back, more of Sweet and Sour. Is small business doing it really that tough, eh?
You know...
Time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
And the
Marketing. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. Final letter of the first episode this year. Hey, Sweet and Sour. There's a belief in this country that every small business person is a rich dude. This is rubbish. Every single small business owner that I know has been doing it tougher than you could ever imagine, and it's been like this for years. Tough, very tough, and we're all shoveling in money and keeping our businesses going because we don't know what else to do. My business has cost me so much in the last 5 years, though I still consider myself lucky because we have the family house only half mortgaged. My debts, however, are huge. The government is a total joke for small businesses. We get nothing from the successive governments. They only have ears for big business and the billionaires that own them, and the public simply has no clue about our plight either because, as I'm often told, you've got plenty of money. Well, we don't. And we don't have the ability to claim welfare benefits unless we declare bankruptcy. Small business is very hard. How many of you even think about this? But more importantly, how can we encourage more people to support their local small businesses, all of which have struggling families behind them? And it comes to us from Ken of Balladura in WA. Small businessman.
This is right down my pipe. Well, first of all, Ken, as a business owner, you're probably only a business manager and a poor one at that. You need to possibly get yourself a good business coach and completely reset your attitude towards your business, because if you've been doing it for 5 years and it's not improving, the only thing that's remained constant in 5 years is you managing it, and it would appear you have not been doing a good job managing it. So you need to reset what you're doing. Okay. The other thing is that there is
gagging next to you, Harry. She's been doing it tough for 5 years. You got to pedal.
Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, can you come and be my... No, I don't want you.
No. The thing about it...
Right, I think that's a little harsh.
No. The thing about it is that as humans we have a natural thing that we will improve when we have an accountability process, coach, mentor, call it what you like. Some people have bathroom scales at home. If you know you've had a big night, you jump on those scales and they go 0 to 100 in less than 2 seconds, you know you need to ease up. And it's the same in a business. Where do you have the balancing scales to keep you honest? Because seriously, if you've been there 5 years and you're not getting ahead, you need to look at what you've been doing, because if you don't change what you're doing, you'll only repeat the next 5 years will look the same.
Small business overall, Susie?
Oh, you know,
everyone I talked to though tells me how tough it is.
It is the toughest I can remember. I've had this business for 15 years, and you know we have got work. I think it is really difficult. We do not get a tax break. When I read in the paper and the government's talking about small businesses are going to get tax breaks and they're 10 to 20 million, you know, it's bullshit. We've got 8 people or 9 people. I'm keeping students. You know, so that they can graduate, we're keeping them on staff, paying them a little bit, you know, as interns, just so we're keeping people employed. It is really, really tough out there, and I agree with you that you need to have business practices, and my business practices I have now would have, if I had them in the very beginning, I would have made a lot more money when it was good. But it's tough out there, and I have to say 75% of all architects work in small businesses under 20 people, and 75% own small businesses around Australia, and 95% of architects work in small businesses of less than 15 people, and we are doing it incredibly tough out there. And I just want to say one thing, I am a bit sick and tired of large people, or people with a lot of money, putting a whole lot of money into a named foundation instead of paying tax. I think everyone should be paying tax, and that is all multinationals.
We asked you at home to answer this question for us. Do you think people who own small businesses are well off? Here's what you said. Doesn't stack up. Only 16% said they're well off. 84% said no. There's a little bit of compassion out there.
That's the 84% that have, they're the 84% that have small businesses. That's what I know.
Nobody's actually mentioned yet these disruptor industries that are coming in, and you know, the shift of technologies as well, which is really impacting on so many small businesses at the moment. Margie?
Well, I think that the current climate is sorting the wheat from the chaff. And I think if you've got a sharp business, a bit like what Harry was talking about, if you've got a sharp business, if your focus is on your clients and providing a great service and a great product, I think the world changed. We went into this quantity. Our businesses started to offer quantity and we lost quality. And I think now there's a change, and it's all about being quality. Your service is quality, your product is quality. I think this is a sharpening of the business, definitely. But I think the only thing that brings big rewards is hard work. And so I think small businesses need to just focus on that.
I think the time frame, and can I just talk about the cultural aspects of business, if you like. I'm always intrigued by this. I think that our time frames in Australia are always very narrow. We've got a 5-year time frame, and we're talking about a business that's, he's saying he's not successful. I always take the view that Asian business people and Italian business people and Greek business people, etc., look at making $1 from the first 1 million people that come in. We look to make $1 million from the first customer that comes in. Look, I was in Singapore. I was in Singapore in December, and I was just amazed at how cheap everything was. But I looked at it and thought, they can't make money on that. And I started talking to them, and they said, no, we're not going to make money on you. But the 14th person that comes in will be making money on it, because we've got these. So it is I guess it's around this short-termism that we have in Australia is very much leading us to, and it also goes down to simple things like political time frames and the like.
Say good night, Suresh.
Hi, good night.
We've got to go to
business.
Good night, sir. Thank you for being on the show tonight. Terrific to have you. Margie, good to have you.
Great to be back.
Suzie,
and great show.
Lovely to have you back. Harry, great to have you back too, sir.
I'm excited about 2019. It's going to be our best year ever.
Yeah, ours too. Thanks for having us at home tonight, Australia. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Wave time. Good night.